welcome you to our tour today. For those of you who don't know me very well, my name is Kelsey and I am originally from Chicago. And my husband and I moved to Valencia, Spain last February. We're loving it, it's beautiful. And I have been taking quite a few trips lately, so this is one of the beautiful places that I am so excited to bring you to. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, hi everybody. So I'm so tickled that you have joined me today for a surprise tour. This location that we are in is called Aveiro. Aveiro. Let me see who's here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hi Laura, good to see you. Hi Lethargy. Hi Sharon B. Hi Diane. Hello in Florida. Hi Beata. Welcome everyone. Welcome to our second live tour of Portugal. So very happy to have you here today. For those of you who... Oh, it's a butterfly. Okay, crisis averted. For those of you who don't know me, I am first of all terrified of bees. Hi Tracy, welcome. My name is Kelsey. I am originally from Chicago and my husband and I moved to Valencia, Spain last February. And it's beautiful, very, very hot. We are in Portugal for about a week, so we are doing live tours every day, or almost every day if we can. And this is a day trip that I took this morning, and I'm so excited to be able to show it to you. It's really beautiful. It is known as the Venice of Portugal, and you will find out why at the end, actually more like the middle to the end of this tour, but I have to show you the quaint shops first, as well as some more fantastic architecture. So welcome everyone. Feel free to let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat, and if you have any questions I will leave the chat on so that I can see them. Okay, hi Rose, welcome. Okay, let's turn this around now. Oh, in terms of using the platform, I guess there's only a couple of things. There's comments, which you're welcome to leave. There's also the chat, which you're welcome to use. And then please like the video. It helps the algorithm. And if you are not subscribed, please do subscribe. Let's turn around now. Okay, welcome to Aveiro. Let me just show you the outside of this beautiful church that we were just in. It's so hard to believe looking at this building from the outside that that's what it looks like on the inside. For those of you who are just getting here, I will post pictures of what we just saw inside. It was incredibly gorgeous, full of gold. So this is the convent of São João Evangelista, and it dates back to the 17th century, and there was a convent here. The architecture, though, does not mirror what was originally here. I guess in 1904 it was updated to the lovely view that we have today. Let me just show you inside the gates here a little bit. And then we will head along to our side streets. Ooh, it is sunny today. Oh, wow. The inside the chapel, we do have the monumental amount of gold. This is a free chapel, although please do leave a donation if you go here. And this is just the beginning of our tour today. So we are in Aveiro, and because we are in Portugal, well, first let me tell you a little bit about where we are today. Aveiro is known as the Venice of Portugal because it has so many lovely canals that we are going to see. And we can also see many azulejos, which are the colorful tiles. Let me get a little bit closer. This is one of the main azulejos houses here. Azulejos are another main hallmark of this city, and the tiles themselves have an interesting history. This building does not have stories necessarily through the majority of the tiles, but many of the azulejos we will see today have a story to tell. Okay, let's go down our tiny side streets. I'm so excited. So Aveiro, this is about 45, 50 minutes from Coimbra, which is where I have been spending the last few days. And I'm reading your comments. Will you be leaving this up after the live so I can watch the beginning? Yes, Rose, this should be up for a few weeks. I would love for all of you to be able to watch it. And the beginning part, if you are just joining. Look at these tiny streets. How lovely. So there are roughly 80,000 people in this whole region, but much less in the town of Aveiro itself. We are on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, which we will see plenty of today. Look at these little streets. So it is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, maybe 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 22-ish Celsius. And we are wandering through the quiet back streets of Aveiro. Some of the main attractions here we will see today, but due to the large number of canals, we will end with the water view. I just want to draw your attention to some of these azulejos that we see here. The azulejos, these are the ceramic tiles, very typical of Portugal, and especially within these smaller, older cities. The name itself means little polished stone, and these tiles, not these specifically, but the idea of all of these azulejos, these tiles, date back to the 13th century when the Moors had invaded the Iberian Peninsula. Isn't that interesting? So when someone mentions Portugal, you might think of port wine, Lisbon, seafood, surfing, nice weather, but azulejos always end up showing up as something that people expect. They are deeply embedded in Portugal's history, in their culture, and there are countless examples in every city we will visit. So originally, they were fairly simple little squares that were cut into geometric shapes, and they had natural tones to them. Now, though, they have become much more exciting, much more colorful, much more modern. I just want to show you what's in the window here. You all know I have 2 terrible cats, but boy, aren't these adorable. Hi, Arlen, good to see you. Welcome, everyone. And while I'm hiding in the shade, do look at the beautiful cobblestone streets. These are another main attraction for Aveiro. They are all over the city with very specific designs depending on which part of the city you're in. So as for the beautiful azulejos, it wasn't until Portugal's king, who was King Manuel I, visited Sevilla or Seville, and he brought back the idea of azulejos. And this is when, in the 13th century, oh, church bells! This is when Portugal truly adopted this artwork into their culture. Here, I'll show you some more. These actually are a play on the azulejos. They are stone, but with glass pieces inside this. Isn't that cool? That's really nice. And antique azulejos were decorated in very simple color patterns. The blues and the white did dominate here, so let me show you a little bit of this pattern. And it is believed that the enhanced blue, or this really beautiful royal blue color that we see, came into the society during the age of discoveries, which was the 15th to the 18th century. And it was then considered fashionable at the time. Hi Cindy, oh thank you for writing azulejo, very helpful. You might be noticing as we walk a lot of fish and nautical themes. That is because we are getting closer to the water. Look at this beautiful backpack. In case anyone wants to get me a Christmas present, this is what I want. Because it is Sunday, there are not too many of the shops open. But lucky for us, many of them have these really, really nice displays in the windows. I'll actually show you one around the corner too. Look at those flowers. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. Isn't that lovely? I'm reading your comments. Kelsey, have you met up with Mike and Lori based in Portugal? No, Arlen, I haven't. I'm trying to think. Do you know where in Portugal they are located? I could ask them, but I forgot we had Portuguese guides. I'm so overwhelmed by all of the changes. I feel like I'm forgetting my own name, much less everybody else's. Oh, and here is a bookstore. We are headed over to the main town square here, but I just want to show you some of the books inside. And because we're in Portugal, everything is in Portuguese. Which, as I've been taking Spanish, which is not the language of Portugal, as I've been taking Spanish, I'm now starting to understand certain Spanish phrases, and the Portuguese translations of those Spanish phrases are actually quite similar. I can almost understand as much Portuguese as I can Spanish, which, let me tell you, is a whopping 3.5 words, but you know, we're working on it. Isn't this beautiful? So we are standing in front of the Church of Aveiro's Mercy, and does look like it is closed, unfortunately, but I do have a picture of the inside. The Church of Mercy is, we're in the same square as the City Hall, so when I turn around, you'll see it. And initially, the architect was named Filippo Terzio. He was an Italian guy, and he was responsible for this entire church back in 1585. It then continued to go from quite a few different architects until finally 1867, like it says on the wall here with all the azulejos next to it. And that is when it was finally completed. So the works for the church began in 1600, and this church was considered the biggest in the world, the biggest of the kingdom. So inside it is quite beautiful, somewhat similar to the church that we started in. So a lot of gold, a lot of the azulejos tiles. Really a lovely place to be. Let me just show you the path we're walking on here. And because we are in Portugal, let me tell you a little bit about this lovely place. I have been to Portugal. This is my third time. And the first time I went to Porto, Faro, Lisbon, Sintra, and a little place called Estoril, which had a really beautiful hotel slash castle. This is the town hall, by the way. And the next time I went to Portugal, I went only to Lisbon and Porto, so I could get a good view of all of the things that the two big cities have to offer. So this time I am staying in Coimbra and Braga, which are the next two biggest cities. In terms of things to see here, there is so much, but I would recommend starting in Lisbon. We actually have a Lisbon recap in a few months that is on my Buy Me a Coffee link. It is pinned in the chat. And okay, let me tell, now that you know how many times I've been to Portugal, let me tell you a little bit about it. This is the first maritime power. So many people will link Spain with the word exploration, but the Portuguese were in fact the first nation to conquer the sea and explore in the 15th and 16th centuries. The Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, he was the first person to lead the circumnavigation of the globe in 1522. Portuguese explorers were also the first to discover lands, well, discover, we say with a Western grain of salt, the first to discover lands such as Brazil, Western Africa, and parts of Asia. Again, they mean discover in the Western sense. So, do take that with a bit of salted history, if you will. Lisbon itself, though, is older than Rome. Rome is considered to be the birthplace of modern civilization. However, it has been discovered that Lisbon predates Rome and officially has been a city since the year 1147. Archaeologists actually found evidence of community in what is now Lisbon in the year 1200 BCE. Isn't it beautiful? So, the very first hot air balloon ride happened in Portugal. The flight of Pilatre de Rosier and the Marquis of Darlandes in France, go ahead, these were the first people to explore the skies in a balloon. And they might have been eating sardines. So sardines are a major product here in Portugal. Let me just show you. Look at how cute these are. These are different types of sardines. I actually had sardines yesterday. Look at the little boxes. Oh, they're so adorable. And sardines are a major product here, so that is why they are sold in these cute little packages. You can see there's tuna, bacalhau is a different type of fish. Sardina. Wow. Look at these. In case anybody is a fish fan, this is your place to go. And, oh, we have a bakery. Oh boy. This looks delicious, but I actually saw another bakery just a step or two down. Here it is. This is the one I wanted to take you to.
Yeah, this is on the top with something else.
Okay, let's go inside. This is called M, and it is a famous bakery. It has been here since 1882, and we are going to get some famous pastries. Oh, it smells good in here. Okay, while we're waiting, let me show you what we can get here. The reason I am drawing your attention to this pastry is because these are the main pastries found here in Aveiro. These are called ovos moles. Ovos moles, and I always apologize for my accent. They trace their origins back to nuns who lived in different convents, and they first appeared. Oops, we're gonna unhook this. No, it's fine. They first appeared in this area in the 20th century. Okay, we're gonna work our way out, and we're going to go somewhere else because this is an entire tourist attraction, and there was no room to breathe anymore. So we will go to the next one that we see. But okay, so basically the way to make these ovos moles, these are little egg custards. So similar to the pastéis de nata, the popular legend goes that the nuns and the monks used the egg yolks to make sweets because they were using the egg whites to clean, to starch, to do other things, and they had all of these yolks left over. And so when the first Portuguese Republic suppressed the convents in 1910, the nuns transferred their artisanal knowledge to become educated upper-class women. And that is how they ended up selling the ovos moles with such a fervor. The nuns said, well, if I'm not allowed to do this, then I'm going to sell pastries. We have arrived! Welcome to the Venice of Portugal, everyone. Here we have our very first canal. I have to say the canals here are a little bit bigger than the ones in Italy, the ones in Venice, but that's okay. They are so beautiful. I know, isn't this lovely? So let me tell you about the boats. They are called moliceros. Moliceros. And these are, isn't this cool? Right? Who knew that there were these lovely boats in Portugal? And as you can see, they are tourist attractions. So the name comes from the marshy lagoon region that we're in. Here, let's go to the other side and see some more. And they were originally used to harvest what is called the moliceiro, which are a little bit of shade. That's nice. I like shade. Yes, so they were originally used to harvest the moliceiro, which was a type of algae used as fertilizer. I know there is a little bit of wind. We're doing our best. Can you hear me okay anyway? The boats do move fast, yes. I'm just waiting for the comments to show up. I think they're a couple seconds behind. Can hear you fine. Okay, perfect. So these boats were initially used to go pick the algae, which was a large product used in this area. Now, of course, they're a huge tourist attraction. If you can see all of the people scrambling in these little boats. Oh, I love it. So the difference between these boats and gondolas, though, these are a little bit bigger. They haven't been adapted to tourism. That's not the reason for the size. They have always been able to carry this many people. So the algae is usually pulled on board using a large wooden rake, which is known as an anfino. Anfino! And I always apologize for my accent. But the boats have a flat bottom. We'll go down there in a second. But the boats have a flat bottom, and they are, they're usually about 9 feet or 3 meters wide. So they are passed down generation to generation, so they are family owned. Some of the boats you see here for the tourism, some of these are owned by the city, but the majority of these are family owned. But the design, though, is similar to the Venetian gondola, Viking longships, and other similar vessels that are even found in Senegal and Bangladesh. One of the nice parts about the boats being so big is that there is space for the crew to sleep. Oftentimes, when gathering algae, they have to be on the boat for a significant period of time. So, the crew will have a nap and then continue. That's lovely. Having a nice stroll in Aveiro today. And look at this architecture. Guess where we're going? Oh yes. To the architecture. Look at these houses. For those of you who came to the Barcelona recap on Friday, does this not remind you of Gaudi's architecture? Look at that. It's so similar. So a lot of these houses have been very nicely restored thanks to the tourism industry, but also thanks to the salt production of Aveiro. Let me just show you a little bit closer the beautiful tiles. Aren't these lovely? So there are salt mines. Well, actually they're not mines. There's a, what do you call this in English? A salinas. Basically a area with little puddles that are full of salt. And as the, oh, salt flats, there we go, that's the name. And as the water, as it rains, as the water filters through them, you get 3 different kinds of salt. You get first the top layer, which is the type of salt that goes in your food, on your table, as very fancy presents, right? The second type is the type that goes in cleaning products. So how do we know when it's the second type? It's the same as, how can I describe this? It's the same as olive oil. It's the first layer, the second layer, and the third layer. And as you go down further, it gets less tasty and less nutrient rich. And so that is why the second layer of the salt is used more for cleaning products or for bath products. The third layer is solely used, for example, on the street when it snows, or things that don't come in contact with your body necessarily. Don't worry, we will see lots more of our boats. I just want to show you one more little side street, and then we're going to walk along the canal. Look at how beautiful. I'm just gonna stand in, oh, we can go in here. Oh, I just want to stand in the shade for just a second and tell you a little bit more about Portugal. So, we touched on this yesterday actually, the pastéis de nata. They're crispy, they're creamy, they're sweet. There is nothing like the original pastéis de nata, or custard tart. So that's what we're going to find. The family who first created these egg tarts has kept the original recipe a secret since the early 19th century. Isn't that amazing? Oh. It is a Sunday, so everyone is outside, enjoying the nice weather, having a coffee. Here in Portugal, there's always time for coffee. There's an assumption here that the Portuguese won't let a little thing like work keep them away from enjoying a coffee break or 2 during the day. The preference is a small espresso-sized bica, which is served in a little tiny cup. Isn't that cute? Has anyone, speaking of food and drink, has anyone had piri piri sauce? Piri piri sauce. We actually have Portugal to thank for piri piri sauce. Normally people think it comes from India, it comes from Africa, it comes from South America. Well, it kind of comes from South America. Let me explain. So this, it's a chili sauce. It's a little bit spicy, and you can put it on just about everything, but specifically the chicken here. Isn't that beautiful? So the chili that is the main ingredient does come from South America. And it was from here when the Portuguese explorers were quote, exploring, as we say in the Western sense, that they found these chilies and took them to Africa. In Africa, that is where this mixture of the chilies, garlic, and lemon were all added together to create this delicious piri piri sauce. I'm reading your comments. Are you all enjoying the beautiful views? I have pri seasoning. That might be similar. I thought it was South African and the Portuguese took it with them. Yeah, Tariq, according to my sources, the origin comes from South America and then it was brought over to Africa. But I could always be wrong. I will do some checking though and let you know. I've only had it at Nando's very much. Oh, I'm glad to hear. So also, Portugal is famous, for those of you who like wine, Portugal is famous for its port wine. Port is a sweet red fortified wine, and this area is the third oldest protected wine region in the world. And it became popular when the English, with the English in the 18th century. We're going to go to a church down here that I am excited to share with you. Isn't this nice? There's such a nice breeze happening. My host, who's very nice, she said, she saw me leaving this morning. She said, "Kelsey, you absolutely must bring a jacket. It's so, so cold there." And I thought, you know, I'm from Chicago, right? I always tell my host that I'm from Chicago, but that's okay. To me, this is a very nice / hot day to explore. You can see everybody eating ice cream, waffles. Oh yes, look at those. Waffles are a very popular treat here, actually. I have seen them at every gelato shop, along with the ice cream, of course. With the gelato, excuse me, not the ice cream. So we're on more of the touristy route right now, but just because it's a touristy route doesn't mean it's any less beautiful. There's a reason why the tourists like this route, shall we say. Look at all these azulejos. How nice is that? So in terms of the English getting hold of the port wine, how did that happen? Well, Portugal and England have been the world's oldest allies. Dating back centuries and centuries and centuries ago, England signed a treaty with Portugal back in 1386. It was called the Treaty of Windsor. The Treaty of Windsor. And this is thought to be the oldest and longest running alliance between modern nations. He's beautiful. I'm reading your comments. I'm surprised the cafes and gift shops are open on a Sunday. Who said that? Lethargy. You know, a lot of the touristy areas have open shops, open restaurants. That's why I'm taking you to this area. We're just stopping by this area because I didn't want you to think it was an empty town, because there are quite a few crowds here. But once you get a little further out of the city, or out of the main touristy parts of the city, then it does become much quieter, and many of the shops are indeed closed. Look at this, this tablecloth. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? This might have to come home with me. Oh, it's so lovely. So when people think about Portugal, they also think about the earthquake that happened in 1755. It was a very, very rough earthquake, very violent. The magnitude was an estimated 8.5 to 9. It killed tens of thousands of people, and there was not only earthquake damage, but then a massive tsunami and fires that basically wiped out 90% of the city. Why am I telling you about this? Because the Portuguese, as they were rebuilding the city, they didn't have the technology that we do today. So how did they earthquake-proof their buildings? Well, they did an ingenious experiment, and as the buildings were being built, they called together the entire army. This was a lot of people back in 1755, 1757-ish. And without the gizmos and the gadgets of modern day, Portuguese authorities decided to use this as a solution. They got all of their soldiers together, gathered them around the new buildings, and told them to stomp, to jump, to cause as much ruckus as they possibly can in order to mimic the ground shaking of an earthquake. Luckily, we have not had an earthquake as violent since then, thank goodness. But hopefully the experiments done by the soldiers of the 18th century will prove to have been successful. This is one of the other churches I wanted to show you today. This is one of the main churches of this part of town. It has basically, this is one of the reasons why Aveiro was built in this specific area, this specific part of town. Let me show you. Can see all of the azulejos here. And I don't mind talking in this building because there's no one in here other than another tourist. But I will tell you more when we get outside. Isn't that stunning? So this is the Vera Cruz Church. It was built in 1606, and you can see the massive amount of azulejos here. Isn't that lovely? Well, I am receiving your coffees. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Sharon B. Thank you, Lauren. Oh, much appreciated. Yes, as you all know, this is a free-to-enter, tip-based tour. Much appreciated, as always. Let me just show you the outside of the Vera Cruz Church. Oh, the tipping links, to answer your question, the tipping links are highlighted or are pinned in the chat. All right, let's go and see our final views of the canals and the boats I'm so excited. Isn't this beautiful? Here we go. Has anyone had tempura? The fried breadcrumbs, basically, on different types of shrimp and vegetables. Well, we have Portugal to thank for tempura. And you're going, wait a minute, this is a Japanese food. How on earth is it due to Portugal? Well, we have learned about the world explorers, and on their adventures, these Portuguese explorers came across Japan in the 16th century. Look at these beautiful hotels. These are all hotels or protected buildings that are used for the city. So meeting rooms and different exhibition halls. So before Japan decided to close its doors to trade, Portugal had offloaded several of their gastronomic goodies back home. Tempura being one of them. The custard tarts that we talk about so much here. There's what is also called a castella cake, and different types of bread are all loved by Japanese people today. So the trade of cuisine went both directions. Not only did Portugal absorb some of Japan's cuisine, the lovely Japanese food, but also Japan now is famous for their egg tarts. They did add one distinction though. How do you know it's an egg tart from Japan? Because it will be matcha flavored. Has anyone had matcha green tea, the powdered form of green tea? Matcha is making a comeback, as they say, and it can be used for a variety of illnesses, for curing illnesses, aches, pains. It also has quite a bit of caffeine in it. So if you are someone like me who takes one whiff of a chocolate bar and is up until 5 a.m., do be aware. Okay, we're gonna go past all of the crazy cars and head over to the canals. So the Moorish conquests that we talk about here, those certainly left their mark on Portugal. Today, the Portuguese language, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, thank you, okay. The Portuguese language has quite the Arab influence. There is a word, arefif, which is Arabic for the platform or the reef, which we use in both languages. There is also salawai, which means rustic, and it comes from a similar word in Arabic. Quite a few, quite a few translations are similar, but that makes sense considering that the Moors were here in Portugal for roughly 500-600 years. Yes, this is a busy city. lots of young people, lots of tourists. All right, I have one more beautiful thing to show you today. It will be the little boats as they go down this fantastic canal. Do you hear the chirping of the birds? So the room that I'm staying in is called the Bird Room, my Airbnb, and there's a nice little balcony in it that when you go outside, there are just hundreds of birds. You can see them flying in the rooftops, flying into the chimneys, flying in the hills, flying everywhere. For some of you who came to the Coimbra tour last night, I will actually pin that when I post this video officially, the live Coimbra tour. You will have noticed all of the hills, and that is something that is very apparent when you are there climbing. So it is quite nice to enjoy a city that you are not constantly huffing and puffing. That's actually one thing my Airbnb host said this morning. I said I'm going to Aveiro, and she helped me with the pronunciation, which was very nice. And I said I'm so excited to see these boats and the canals, and she said, oh, the best part is that it's like a plane. It's so flat, it's like a plane. And I said, that's amazing. That is amazing. Okay, let's keep walking to get to our last view. But oh, my point in telling you about the birds is that because Portugal is such a convenient location for birds that are migrating between Africa and Europe, Portugal often hosts more than 600 bird species at one time. It is the most birds I have ever seen in one place. Although I have not been to the Amazon. I hear that is quite the bird-tastic location, but do be aware you will hear lots of chirping, lots of squawking, lots of appealing bird sounds in wherever you explore in Portugal. So, this brings us to the end. Did you enjoy the tour? Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sharon A. Much appreciated for all of your tips and coffees. The link is pinned for those of you who are looking for it. It is pinned in the chat. I had such fun exploring this lovely city with you today. I'm so glad we could explore such a beautiful place a little bit earlier. I wasn't planning on doing a tour so early today, but I am quite happy you were all able to join me. So thank you so much for coming. Oh yay, thank you Arlene, thank you Diane, thank you Tessa, thank you Laura, thank you Sharon B. What are those ribbons on the bridge? Those are for tourists. They do make the bridges quite photogenic, don't they? Thank you Lethargy, thank you all for coming with me today. Do keep a lookout on the channel. Oh, we've got another boat coming behind us here. Let's take a selfie with the boat. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was such fun. What good timing. So keep a lookout for other tours that I will post. There might be one this evening, but I will have to check the train schedule. But if not, there will definitely be one tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we head over to Braga. So keep a lookout on the channel, on the Facebook page, Explore with Kelsey. And I will post all of the pictures that I cannot post on the YouTube links in my Facebook group, also called Explore with Kelsey. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for your donations. And I look forward to seeing you at the next tour in Portugal. Thank you, everyone. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you soon. Goodbye. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for your donations, for your tips, for your PayPals. And as always, thank you for being a part of my traveling family. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye, everyone. Don't forget to follow and like this video for more with me, Explore with Kelsey.